are on the air to talk about your retirement, to talk about your wealth. This is the Retirement Compass radio show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Welcome into the program, Jackie Selby, and I have Scott Nachtigal here. I can't believe it. And Jeff Gove.
Morning. Welcome, Scott Nachtigal.
Thank you.
Look at that. It's only taken 2 years to get Nachtigal on the program here.
I was very nervous to be beside Jeff. That's really the thing that stopped me.
It is a bit intimidating, isn't it?
Well, congratulations on the brand new studio there at the Kearney office, at the brand new Kearney office. You guys expanded and took over a restaurant that went out of business, so now you have a wonderful, larger location, including a brand new studio. It's not all decorated all the way yet, Mr. Gove.
No, it's not done yet, but a shout out to Yondas and Kearney. Did a phenomenal job getting us all the equipment. I know it sounds better. I can hear it. And yeah, they did an excellent job. So if you're starting a podcast, need radio equipment, go to Yondas.
I love it. We used to call that an audio-video company, an AV company, right?
Yeah.
But now it's all down to podcast and streaming and things of this nature. But Yondas is Y-O, Yonda?
Y-A, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yondas.
Yeah, Yondas.
Well, they don't stop there. I have also purchased a few guitars from their venue.
Okay.
Great people. They did an excellent job designing everything. And yeah, very pleased.
How fun. Now, Scott Nachtigal, before we get to talking about your role at Stonebridge, I just want to go over a couple of things. You're the athlete, or one of the athletes there on the staff. We, from time to time, have talked about your, what? You guys are cringing.
Well, yeah.
About your athletic prowess.
It was just a few short decades ago, yes. So I don't talk about it that often, but my cohorts do. It's kind of one of those, like, kind of stick the knife in the back gently.
I'm sorry about that. Then I won't talk about the. You already.
We can talk about it because, it's something that I think they're just slightly envious of, and so they try and minimize it.
That's a fact.
See.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott is one of those guys that everyone hates because, like, surfing behind my boat, he is like, I'm trying to give him instructions. He's like, okay, whatever, just go. And he goes and he surfs. And nobody likes those people, Scott. Nobody likes those people that just jump on and do it. So he's coaching pole vault, and I've heard from some of his pupils.
Athletes?
We'll call them athletes. It's pole vault, but
Do you coach
whatever.
at the collegiate level, or
Yeah,
what,
he
Scott?
just grabs a pole and he's like, okay, I'm gonna just jump over this that you're struggling with.
What are those poles made of? Titanium nowadays?
Are you calling me large? No, they're fiberglass. They're designed to bend.
They're designed to bend, right?
Yes.
Okay, fiberglass. But they don't break because it's just like the frame of a bicycle, right? It's an interwoven fiberglass.
Yes, layered. Yeah, layered carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber, that's the stuff. And can you still vault?
Yeah. I mean, not like I used to, but yeah. See, I think I'm broken in the sense of I don't behave my age, and I never have, and so I just continue to do that. Now, full transparency, 2 years ago, I was doing some vaulting, and the girls' pole vault coach, his name is Nate Plotchik. He also pole vaulted for the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, but he's about, maybe 15 years younger than me. But anyway, he and I started going back and forth. I vaulted, and then he vaulted, and then because we're both competitive, we raised the bungee or the bar. And before it was all said and done, I won, but I also pulled a hammy, and it was like a bad one where it's like there was a bruise from the blood that had trickled down from my hamstring onto the top of my calf, inside.
Yes.
So yeah, it was gruesome. Humbling.
Gruesome.
Yes.
At least you won.
But I won. I wanted to lead with that.
Oh. Well, how did you get into financial, personal finance?
Well, I started with the idea of the insurance side was pretty cool. I had a godfather who was an avid goose and duck hunter. We have a Platte River that's just south of Kearney, and he had a blind there. And this was back just when cell phones were just coming out. They were a bag phone or a box phone is a better way to describe
Brick.
them.
Dang thing.
Yeah, very similar. And we were out shooting geese. He had asked me to come out, and he got a ring and picked up the phone, and he was talking to people about their State Farm insurance. And I thought, that is pretty cool. I want to do this. And so I got started back in the late 90s working for Mutual of Omaha, primarily Medicare supplements and long-term care. And got my securities license in 2000. And have been in the financial planning or financial services industry since then.
I love it. Well, that's an easy story because you had an interest and you had somebody who influenced you, and I love it. Do you primarily hang out at the Kearney office?
Yes.
All right.
Help in the Lincoln office a little bit, help in the Omaha office a little bit. I do enjoy getting up and presenting at our educational workshops.
Great.
A lot of fun. It's in fact, I remember getting Jeff up here in Kearney for the first workshop, and he was visually shaking and saying, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this." And now here we are, maybe 8 years later,
At
10 years
least,
later.
yeah, probably 10.
Yeah. Times goes fast. But and now he's doing these things. So yeah,
Right.
I'd like to think that I've taken him a long ways.
Scott took me under his wing, apparently.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
I
good.
sincerely appreciate that,
Yeah.
Scott.
That's
I've got
good
one of those
stuff.
whale trophies for you that I'll give you after the show.
I love it. In case you are also a pole vaulter and you'd like to talk to Scott Nachtigal, here is his number, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. Seriously, that's how you reach Stonebridge Well Systems, whether you want to be have a little visit and some coffee and talk about athletics or about your financial plan, whether it be in the Kearney office. John's at the Grand Island office. We have the Lincoln office. Tim is there a lot. And then the Omaha office. And a lot of people go back and forth, Zach or Jeremy, right? Hit the Omaha office. Whoever needs to be served. Also, you could see one of the experienced advisors at the Sioux Falls office, really northern Kansas, anywhere in the Midwest. Is that a safe statement, Mr. Gove?
Yeah, well, we don't have the office in Sioux Falls yet, but yeah, we are. That is probably in the plans in the future. So if you're up there, yeah, we're coming your way. So give us a call.
Well,
and then
you would go to see them, though, in person.
yeah, a lot of times we're going to do the introductory just via Zoom, use technology. But in Omaha, we do have Daniel and Eli that are there full time, crushing it in Omaha.
Great. Oh, Eli moved to Omaha?
Yeah, he's doing both Lincoln and Omaha. But yeah,
Oh, great. That's fantastic.
yeah.
Well, good to hear it. For those who want to, I don't know, open the conversation with you, what's the most common thing, Mr. Gove, that people want to talk to you about when they place that call? Because I want to retire. I'm getting close to 65. Or is it, I've inherited some money. I don't know what to do with it. Or what is it?
Yeah, it's really all of the above. You know, we get a lot of calls from our radio show. Seems like the hot topic right now, though, is tax planning.
Okay.
You know, that's where we can make, you know, when I put together a plan, or all of us put together a plan, healthcare and taxes are going to be your biggest expenses in retirement if you don't plan correctly. So that's a huge opportunity where we can really make a difference. You know, when you look at just investment planning, we all invest in the same stock market, right? So if you buy the S&P 500 and I buy the S&P 500, we're going to get the same return. But if I do it more tax efficient than you do, that's where we're going to make up a lot of ground. So if you're wondering about taxes, go to, what is the StonebridgeTaxBill.com.
I have it, yeah.
Yeah.
StonebridgeTaxBill.com.
StonebridgeTaxBill.com. It just slipped my mind. But it's a free calculator where you can go in and put how much you have in IRAs, 401ks, any tax deferred assets.
Okay.
And then you can see what the tax liability is going to be over your lifetime. It's easy. Takes 2 minutes to fill it out. And it might be shocking to you how much you're looking at in taxes.
I think that number can be kind of shocking and kind of scary. But just FYI, if you go to StonebridgeTaxBill.com, it's not attached to, okay, if you want to use this tool, you've got to sign in and create a password, and then we're going to hound you to death. No, it doesn't work like that. You could just go on there and use the tool. It's stonebridgetaxbill.com. Anything else you want to add about the tax bill landing page?
I think just the fact that, like you said, I mean, it's not, you got to sign up for this, and in order to get this, you have to give us this.
Yeah.
It's going to give you the information. Now, it is going to give you the option that if you want help or you want some advice on how you can potentially reduce your tax liability over your lifetime, it's going to give you the option to do that, but it's not required.
Right.
I would encourage anybody that has tax-deferred assets, go to stonebridgetaxbill.com and find out what your tax liability is over your lifetime, because I promise you it's going to be shocking.
Mm-hmm. And boy, we can talk about the shock of the healthcare costs, even in retirement, on our next segment. But please, either use that landing page or use the 866 number we have rigged up. So it doesn't matter where you want to have a chat with someone on the Stonebridge team. We have just the one number so that then you can make that decision. 866-295-5146. And you actually get to talk to a human being when you use that number. I know people get stuck in these calling here, press 1. Don't ever call. Anyway, I don't want to get started. 866-295. Try to keep this positive. 866-295-5146. Stonebridge Well Systems. Be right back.
Is your retirement being eaten up by financial termites like hidden fees, inflation, and avoidable taxes? Call today for a complimentary financial review so we can help you root out these retirement killers.
Hey, welcome back into the show, Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge Well Systems. I'm Jackie Selby, and I've got a very special guest today from the Kearney office. It is Scott Nachtigal, along with Mr. Gove, Jeff Gove, from also the Kearney office. Now, this is really neat because you guys, if somebody's just tuning in or they've just punched the button and they're listening to the show, you are in your new, not just office, but studios, the new Stonebridge studio. Can people look at it when they come in? Can they say, I want to see the radio show?
Yeah, we actually cut some windows in. So yeah, you can, if we're on, you can watch us do the show.
Good. Otherwise, they can look at your empty desk. But you got some beautiful under-desk lighting.
Yeah.
Very attractive.
Thank you.
Can you say the name of your provider on our work on our studio?
Yondas from Kearney, Nebraska.
Great. Yondas.
Did all the work on it.
And Scott said that they're not just, an AV company or whatever to help you get up for your podcast or whatever it is, but you got some guitars from them, Scott?
Yeah, musical instruments. My daughter played the flute, so I know that they had worked on her flute back in the day. I purchased a few guitars from them. When I get bored, I go down there and play Stairway to Heaven as loud as I can. They sell drums. Pretty much anything you need.
Music lessons.
Yep.
Long time ago. It's kind of funny. The guy that designed our studio helped us. He actually gave me guitar lessons.
Is that
for
right?
a short period. I think he gave up. He was like, it's just not happening for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Go into finance, young man. Go
Greg
into
Sales.
finance. You have no musical talent, Gove.
Well, and I would go in there. It was frustrating because he's like phenomenal at the guitar, and he's like tearing it up on his guitar, and then he's like, "Okay, let's play Mary Had a Little Lamb." On your, like, oh, okay. So, yeah.
I often wonder how music teachers can stand it to be plunking along on a piano with a kid. How do they take it?
Yeah.
Hats off to anybody trying to teach a little kid how to play instruments.
True.
Well, let's talk a little bit about long-term care planning, because I don't know if everybody thinks about this very often until they see their parent go through it, an older relative. Right, Jeff? It's not the sexiest topic. Hey, let's talk about what's going to happen if you get sick or towards the end of your life.
Yeah, I think Scott would agree that if someone comes to us asking about long-term care, it means it's one of two things. Either they just put mom and dad in a home and they're paying the bill.
Oh, boy.
Or they just got diagnosed with something. Something is wrong. So, yeah, a lot of people, it's not something you want to think about or you want to plan for, but you need to plan for it because it's, like I said, it's one of the most expensive things in retirement that could blow up your nest egg.
What are the statistics on this? Who's going to need long-term care, and what does it mean exactly?
Around a 50% probability that you will end up spending some time in a nursing home. So, the Jen Worth, who has been a long time long-term care insurance company, has reports that they do every year. I haven't looked at one recently, but it will define out what the costs are by the state. And what I do know is that I just ran a report for a client that is looking to retire, and their probability of success with no long-term care expenses was 97%. That basically out of 1,000 simulations, so that's including good years, bad years, and everything in between, that between her age is 67, his age is 68, that between now and age 95, that of those 1,000 random simulations, 960, 970 they will die with money. I added 2 years of long-term care for the female the last 2 years of her life, and it dropped it to a 55% probability of success. So what I know is that if you end up in a home and you don't have a plan for how you're going to pay for that, it can devastate the legacy planning that I think most people hope to have.
I think so, too. This is, by the way, the Retirement Compass radio show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems, 866-295-5146. If you're hearing a voice you haven't heard before, it's Scott Nachtigal, who's out at the Kearney office, and he usually doesn't come on the air. It's usually Mr. Gove, who is sitting there in his bright green shirt, and Tim Kulhonick. Where does he have the kids, Kulhonick, this week?
They're going to Worlds of Fun. It's Lenny's birthday on Monday, so it's Worlds of Fun, hitting some roller coasters.
And Lenny is the middle child, right?
She's the oldest.
Oh, she's the oldest.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yep. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lenny. And how was your daughter's birthday, Lennon?
It was great. Yeah, she's one. She gets really excited for her birthday, and she thinks everyone else should too.
Yeah.
And I took her to the eye doctor on, I think it was Wednesday last week, and she told everyone in the eye doctor that it was her birthday on Friday. So she was pretty excited. She had a great day, and she thought she should have the whole weekend for her birthday.
Now, this is the way I think.
No. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Might as well.
In college, it was a week, but that was a different story.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, how about your children? How old?
I've got a daughter who's 21. She's out in Greeley, Colorado, nursing school. Just tied up her junior year. And then I have a son who just graduated from Kearney High.
Oh my goodness, you got grown-up kids.
Yeah, I'm arriving. I'm an old man.
You've already been through the the tough years, I suppose. Gosh, I lived in Denver for a long time, 27 years. So I won't tell you the things we used to say about Greeley. It wasn't popular when I lived there.
You know, I think it's improved quite a bit.
I do too.
Bella, my daughter, loves the college. Not a huge fan of the town.
Yeah, the town's kind of.
But, it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from the mountains.
Oh, yes.
She likes to ski and
good.
Hike and rock climb. So
How fun. So it's a 4-year program for nursing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Great. And is she going to try to come back to Nebraska to get a gig or?
Nope. Goal is to stay out there on the Front Range.
Oh, good. Fine. Yeah. You'll have a place to stay when you go out there to launch into the mountains to go skiing.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, tell me a little bit more about this long-term care planning that you do for your clients, because what constitutes the need for long-term care? Like what if we want to have it in the home? And then further, tell me the difference between old-fashioned long-term care insurance and what's being offered these days, if
Sure.
you would.
Well, let's just take it to the origin of you go into a home where you have an extended care expense. So basically, when I say extended care expense, I'm talking about that moment in time when you lose your privilege or your opportunity to make choice. So
Oh,
we don't
okay.
get to choose those times. They occur. So I'll
Wow.
give you a couple of examples.
Please.
You find dad walking down the road, and he doesn't know where he's at. No
right.
longer has a choice.
right.
You find that mom is no longer taking her medication on time, losing choice. Those are a few examples of now you've got kids or the county or a doctor that is stepping in and they are starting to make choices for you.
Aha.
And so in that moment, that's when if your planning is not done, it's really hard to move forward in a tax efficient, non-crisis management way. You know, the things that we want to do here is make sure that things are done with a plan and there's a strategy and we avoid crisis management. Because if we do things right, we can. And so there's 5 viable solutions for paying for that extended care event.
Okay.
One would be traditional long-term care, and that was to your question, and I'll get back to that here in a moment.
All right.
The second one would be linked benefits. We'll jump into that a little bit more definitively here in the show. If you were in the military, you would have potential options for military benefits. So
Oh,
going
okay.
to like a veteran's home. 3 would be spending your own money, which is a very viable solution for some. But the 5th one is for those who try and spend their own money that don't have any other backup, so no other insurance plan, is Medicaid. And unfortunately, there's a lot of folks, I don't know the exact statistic, but it's probably 50, 60% of people in a home are being supported by the state. So basically
Okay.
what that means is you spend down essentially everything that you have to several $1,000s if you're single, and that would include selling your house and your cars, and basically you have nothing. And
Right.
so if you have a spouse, there is some protection there. And I don't want to say that Medicaid is like the worst thing in the world, because I've had family that grandma had Alzheimer's, went into a home, grandpa stayed in the home. And so Medicaid rules is if there's a surviving spouse that is at the home, you can keep the home, you can keep a car, a certain amount of jewelry. I'm not a Medicaid expert, but I guess what I want to say is there are times where it makes sense to have insurance products to cover the liability. And there's also some times where there's just not enough resources to protect. The thing that we don't want to do is buy insurance when it's not actually going to help us in the long run.
All
That
right.
money may be better spent creating a legacy. So let's say the cost of insurance was $500 a month, and we'll just take an example of a single woman in her 80s.
Okay.
She may, we'll just set up two examples. One, she takes that money and she buys long-term care insurance. Well, now that money's gone every month. Option 2 would be she takes that $500 and she spends it being relational with the people that she loves, charitable with the things that are important to her. And 5 years down the road, she goes into a home. Well, one of them, she has 5 years of opportunities to share life with people, give to things that are important to her. The other one is she spent that money on an insurance product, which is great. Okay, so she goes into a home now. Well, if that insurance product doesn't meet her needs, or she doesn't have enough assets to protect, let's say all she had was a home, and let's say that home was worth $120,000. Well, okay, great. So she lost out on 5 years of again, being relational,
Right.
to protect a home that's worth $120,000. So what you want to do is find somebody that can walk through these scenarios with you, because, we see it regularly. A lot of people don't look at it from the same lens that we do.
Right.
They may look at it through, I want to, I just want to make sure that if I go into a home, I don't burden my kids. Well, we have experience in walking through clients' lives with real life examples of this is how it worked out for them.
Right.
here's your options.
Okay.
And just talking to a few people over coffee and their experience, that's maybe 10, 15 people's worth of experience where we talk with people about it on a weekly basis, in addition to, inner office conversations.
Right.
We can just bring a lot more to the table as far as real life opportunities, experiences, and ways that you can maybe spend your money differently, better, more tax efficiently.
All right. That's really eye-opening what you said. I'm going to give out your number here, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146 here on Retirement Compass Radio Show. So I'm going to get you to talk about the other ways to pay, if you will, coming up next.
As Americans, we strive for better. From a better house to a better career to a better life for our children and grandchildren. Better has become the American way. When it comes to your retirement, what does better mean to you? Does it mean more income, a flexible lifestyle, better solutions? A better retirement begins with a financial plan. To get your complimentary written financial plan, call the number you see here. You only retire once. This is your opportunity to plan for better.
This is getting good. Very interesting show we have going today with Stonebridge Wealth Systems Retirement Compass Radio Show. I've got Mr. Gove in the Kearney office and also Scott Nachtigal in the Kearney office. Scott, what are the initials or letters after your name?
LUTCF, Life Underwriter Training Council Fellow. It's
That's
just
neat.
Additional insurance training.
Cool. Well, let's talk. Mr. Gove and I were talking about, in addition to the StonebridgeTaxBill.com, Mr. Gove, you're coming up with something new, and that has to do with risk. And risk meaning how much risk I'm willing to endure as a pre-retiree?
Yeah, that and how much risk are you actually taking? In March and April this year, when the market went down, as we all know, due to tariffs and all of those things, people were kind of exposed. If you thought, I'm a moderate investor or I'm an aggressive investor, but you just say I'm an aggressive investor without really knowing what that means, and then your account loses 15% in the matter of a month, that can be eye-opening, I think. So I think it's important to actually quantify that risk. Like, what does it actually mean? So as financial advisors, we like to talk about percentages a lot, right? So you were down 5%, or you were down 3%, or you made 10%. But what does that actually mean to your portfolio? If you had $1 million and you lost 10%, that's $100,000. 10% sounds very different than $100,000 because now we're looking at that as, what could I have bought with that 100,000?
Right.
So you have to make sure that your risk tolerance is actually correct. Your money is invested the way that you want it to be. Because again, if you just say I'm an aggressive investor and then you go invest that way, the reality is, when the market was down, 48% in 2008, you would have lost 48% of your money. Are you open to that type of risk?
No.
So we are working
sorry.
on a calculator. And right now you would just go to our website, stonebridgeiwm.com, and just send us a message that you'd like to have that calculator, and we can send that out to you.
Okay.
We have a QR code that we can email to you. But what that does is you can put in the amount of money that you are investing, and then it takes you through a very detailed risk tolerance questionnaire to see how should you actually be invested? What should your average rate of return be given the risk that you're willing to take? I think that's really, really important. And then on top of that, the next step would be, if you analyze that, then we can look at, okay, send us a statement and we can plug all of your investments in to make sure that it matches your risk tolerance. Because I can't tell you how many people I meet with that say, well, I'm probably more conservative in my 401k, but guess what? In a 401k, there's no one there to help you, right?
No.
You're making the investment decisions. So when we pull up the funds that you have in your 401k, they're 100% stock. So you're very aggressive. And we need to, again, know what that means. So we have to make sure that your risk tolerance is aligned with how your money is actually invested. That's what this tool will help us do.
Good.
So stonebridgeiwm.com,
Okay.
send us a message.
Great. StonebridgeIWM.com. You can send a message through that. You could also just use the 866 number because I don't know, sometimes maybe it's just me, but I know a lot of people who are technically a little bit timid. And so 866-295-5146, and you can have one of the advisors go through it with you, if not Jeff or Scott or Tim, somebody will help you through it, 866-295-5146. I'm not discounting what you presented, Jeff. It's just that sometimes people need a little help.
Yep. Yeah, call. And we do use a call center just because we get enough calls that,
Yeah.
Scott and I can't take all of them. So, yeah, just tell them you want that risk calculator.
Yes, she's a very sweet
We'll send
gal.
it out.
I called the 866 number the other day by accident instead of calling your direct office to Kearney. And she was so nice. She's like, "May I take your details?" I'm like, "Sorry, I really meant to call the office." But anyway, she
You
was
didn't
very
book
nice
an appointment?
and very helpful. She wanted me to.
Well, why didn't you?
866-295-5146. Be right back.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We're back to talk about a few more things to do with long-term care. Retirement Compass radio show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems. And the reason I'm kind of trying to recover from giggling is because it's not easy to talk about what is going to happen in those times and in those years where you're not able to take care of yourself. And Scott Nachtigal, you said something that I don't think I've ever thought about before. Extended care expenses, if you don't plan for them, then, of course, you're going to be reacting, right? But these are the times in our lives where we don't have a choice. Can you give one of those examples again?
Yeah. When probably the simplest would be, mom stops taking her medication, and it's an important medication that she needs to be on all the time. And so it's literally a life or death situation. So you have to find a solution for making sure that those meds get taken care of. Mm-hmm. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that mom comes and starts living with me? Does that mean that she goes into a home? Choices have to be made for her well-being.
Mm-hmm. And this is above and beyond setting an alarm, having a little egg timer. I mean, probably most families, have tried all these other things. But in case that doesn't happen and she can't maintain or create a system where she can remember the medication, then, yeah, there you are. You're on your back foot if you don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the other thing, Scott, and you can expand on this, but it's not mom making the decision, right? It's the kids or the doctor,
daughter, yeah.
or you're putting that weight on your loved one's shoulders.
Right. The way I look at it is it's a backpack, and inside that backpack you got financial, emotional, and physical consequences.
Oh boy!
And so, as an adult, right, we all want to adult, but
yes.
We can choose to take that backpack off and open it up and say, okay, well, there are known consequences if I end up going into a home or needing some sort of extended care help. Now, do I want to take care of that? So financially, how am I going to pay for it? Am I going to have insurance products? Do I have funds set aside for it? And have I communicated that clearly with my loved ones that this is sitting there allocated for it? Physical consequences. Well, if you let's say mom goes into a to a skilled nursing facility.
Yes.
And they get to a point where she's homebound. So she comes back home, but we realize that she actually needs permanent help. Well, so daughter, it's usually daughter in statistically.
Yes.
Is she going to stop coaching soccer with her kids? Is she going to give up work to now take care of mom and make sure that she's home if mom didn't set up a plan for how things are going to be taken care of? Those are the physical consequences. The emotional consequences, some of those can be mitigated, taken care of, but some of them can't, right? It's always a difficult chore, a task, responsibility, moving somebody that you love into a facility. But sometimes that's the best thing for them. It's the best thing for everyone. So the emotional consequences that you can take care of is if you've talked about it with your loved ones. So there's been conversation, dialogue. So, for me, let's say fast forward, of course, I could go into a home at any point, right? Anyone could. But fast forward it for the normal. I'm in my 80s and I haven't talked with my kids about me being okay to be moved into a home if and when that time is right. If I have given them the green light saying, hey, I'm okay with being moved into a home. I don't want you to quit your life to take care of me. I want you to continue to chase your dreams, spend time with the people you love and do the things that you want to do in your life. And I want to go into a facility where somebody can take care of me. And yes, I hope you visit me and we'll continue our relationship, but I don't want you to give up your life for mine because that's not what I want for you. That's the conversation that if you have that, now daughter doesn't have to say, does dad want me to take care of him? Does dad want me to quit my job and take, is that the expectation? I don't know. If it's never communicated what they think mom wanted or what dad wanted, as opposed to mom and dad just being clear with them.
And that's a tricky spot to be in. This is Retirement Compass Radio Show. You can reach Stonebridge, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. And obviously, Scott, as you mentioned, you talk to people about this every single day, every single week. That's what you do for a living. It's not just a matter of getting an opinion, at the flower shop or at the coffee, meeting or the card game or whatever it is. But I feel like if people are at the retirement stage and they haven't talked about this with their family and haven't gotten a professional opinion, they really could be caught, off guard and have to meet old family expectations. Like, for example, even though dad can't think clearly anymore, he would have wanted me to do this. Dad would have an expectation that I take care of him. You know what I mean? Things like this, instead of having a talk with folks while they still feel like talking about it or can.
Yep. You want to make the decisions. You want to make those communications while everybody is in their right mind. Again, we like to make decisions when we have time to think, process, and look at the numbers, look at the information, look at the data. We don't want to make decisions during a crisis. Crisis management is lack of planning, and that's not what we do here. We plan.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that just makes me want to take a deep breath. Because you're already then possibly financially burdened, but for sure emotionally burdened if someone has a stroke or, it's a sudden illness situation where you really can't be lifting them into the bathtub or down to the toilet because you don't have the strength, or mom or dad, they just are physically unable to do that, and you haven't planned for this, then there is an additional burden, like you said, in your backpack with the what did you say? Mental, financial, and emotional?
Physical, emotional, and financial consequences that we can take care of.
Okay.
We as in, we can help you take care of those decisions and make sure that there's a plan in place so you don't essentially take your backpack off when you no longer have the ability to make those decisions that we just talked about.
Yes.
And you hand over a backpack to your daughter and say, good luck.
Right. It's interesting because some people say don't put me in a nursing home. I know that especially older people maybe have a bad impression of just like some people don't understand that annuities aren't the same thing that they used to be or whatever. They have preconceived notions about what could happen in the nursing home. And if you are in a Medicaid facility or even a veterans facility, there might be a different level of care than staying home. I guess that's what I'm getting at. You can help people by talking to them about staying home to get that care. Am I right?
I think that's good. You if you don't want to go to a home, then put together a plan that you don't have to go to a home.
Yeah.
That'll pay for home health care.
Right. The difference is instead of providing care, you manage the care. So you hire it out as opposed to, trying to get dad into the bathtub. Well, that's doing the care as opposed to we have the financial plan to hire somebody who has the expertise to get dad in and out of the bathtub safely and, appropriately, I might add. It's not something that most people want to talk about or even consider. But, for me, would I want my daughter taking care of me, when I'm in my 80s? Not really. I don't want somebody like my daughter helping me on and off the toilet. Now, she's a nurse or will be a nurse, so she has the God-given ability and capacity to do that. But I'd much rather have her hire somebody who can take care of that as opposed to doing it herself.
Right. Well, how do we do that?
Well, it starts with having a conversation. So it was probably 15 years ago, I went to a course on helping men, believe it or not,
Cool.
Step into having a conversation about these extended care events. It's really easy, and I know I'm making a blanket statement, so I don't mean to be offensive, but generally women are willing to step into that what if scenario. And as primary caregivers, typically they want to make sure that the kiddos don't get put in a position to have those burdens, those consequences. Whereas men, a lot of times it is, I'm going to work and I'm going to work and I'm going to take care and I'm going to take care. And I can't possibly think of me being in a position that I can't take care of and handle what I have done for the last 40, 50, 60 years. And so I'm not willing to step into that position. And if I don't talk about it, it'll never happen.
There you go.
So the question is, can we agree that if you live long enough, that you will become frail? And if your answer to that is no, I won't become frail, then that's where the conversation ends. And because they're not living in reality. But if you can get someone to say, yes, if I do live long enough, I will become frail. And when we become frail, we get to a point where we cannot take care of ourselves. We cannot get in and out of the bathtub. We cannot get ourselves on and off the toilet. Can't cook the way, safely. So if we can step into that moment of, yes, if I live long enough, I may become frail. Okay, so what are we going to do about it?
Good. Okay, the show is Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems and Scott Nachtigal, who is one of the advisors, and he is specialized in this very thing that we're talking about. Long-term care, it's not sexy, but by gosh, if you think you're going to be frail, I like that. That is the conversation starter. Maybe Jack LaLanne did not think he was going to be frail, but he ended up being frail after all. But he lived a long time. Heck, we had my mom out there trying to get her to stop mowing the lawn at 85 years old. All right, here's the number, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. Be right back.
Did you ever think your retirement would be shared with our government? It's true. Your traditional 401k, IRA, pension, or similar retirement accounts are like a partnership with the IRS. Simply put, they want their tax dollars, and you have them. With our latest tax calculator, you can plug in your own numbers while sitting at home. To find out what your future tax liability could be, scan the QR code or go to stonebridgetaxbill.com.
Hey, welcome back into the show. This is Stonebridge Wealth Systems Retirement Compass Radio Show. Jackie Selby on this side, and I've got Jeff Gove, and I've got Scott Nachtigal. I have to slow down when I say that. Yours is not the most complicated name in the world, but what is the name of that other pole vaulting coach that you mentioned?
Polacek.
Polacek, yeah.
He's the Kearney High girls vault coach.
Yeah. Kearney High girls vault coach. And what do they have to call him? Just coach, I suppose, is easiest.
Nate.
Nate. Hey, Nate Dog. All right.
Nate Dog.
Nate Dog, come on. All right, Scott, we were talking about long-term care, a good portion of this program based on that. And we have kind of gone over what we don't like, and that's old-fashioned long-term care insurance, right? Or is that one of the things we're going to talk about? Because it's kind of gone by the wayside.
Yeah, I think we need to address not the elephant in the room, but something that is slowly fading into the background, and that would be your traditional long-term care. So again, the 5 viable solutions for paying for an extended care event would be, if you were in the military, you may get veterans.
Okay.
If you want to pay for it out of your own pocket and you have
Cash.
money that never runs out, you pay for it by yourself. The third one could be you spend down all your money and you end up on Medicaid. State help.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The fourth one would be linked benefits, which Jeff is going to address that here shortly. And,
good.
And the fifth one would be traditional long-term care. So those would be things that like maybe your parents had. They're still out there, but it's essentially an insurance that looks at 3 different things. So one, there's an elimination period. So if you lose 2 of 6 daily living activities or activities of daily living, that's bathing, eating, toileting, transferring, continence, and dressing, then you qualify. And so you qualify for this. There's an elimination period, so it's essentially your deductible of time. How long are you going to pay for it out of pocket before the insurance company starts paying for it?
Oh, dear.
Traditionally, it would be like 90 days, 180 days. So then the insurance starts paying.
Wow.
The next one would be how much that insurance company is going to pay. So typically it's a daily benefit. So it might be $120 a day, $150 a day. Sometimes it's based on the month. And then the last one is how long those benefits are going to last. So is it a 2-year benefit period? The insurance company will pay for 2 years. Is it a 5-year benefit period? There used to be unlimited benefit periods, but that caught the insurance companies in a bit of a bind. They didn't do the best job of underwriting the costs. And because of that, that has been the downfall of the traditional long-term care. So when I started back in the late 90s, I remember selling long-term care insurance to some folks. And at that point, they could afford it. It was a great plan. Everything was moving along fine. This was long before we did what we do here now, and that's income planning and making sure that the expenses that you have, you're not going to outlive. So these are prior to those time periods of truly looking at planning. So I was just selling a product. I was in my mid-20s.
Right.
Well, they came to me 15 years later with the rate increases in their long-term care. They said, Scott, we cannot afford this anymore. So this was an insurance product that we had paid for, that they had paid for, that I essentially got them into. 15 years later, after paying for it, neither one of them had been in a home, but it was no longer affordable. And it was that day that it was instilled in me again and again and again. This was just another opportunity for me to say, never again will I put somebody into a plan that is not going to be affordable down the road. The problem with traditional long-term care is we don't know what those costs are going to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. So unless somebody has an exorbitant amount of money that they can pay for those premiums, regardless of how high they go, there's not many people that have that. It's not a great solution, as opposed to the linked benefits, which Jeff's going to address right now, that has more guarantees and a lot more knowns.
Mm-hmm. And very good. Real quick, I'm going to get the phone number in here, Mr. Gove, 866-295-5146. That's how you reach Stonebridge. And this is the Retirement Compass radio show, 866-295-5146. And I would argue, Scott, that even if people have a bottomless pit of money to pay by cash or to pay with one of these older-fashioned traditional long-term care policies, they don't want to. People who are super wealthy, they would rather make some leverage going into this decision, I feel like.
Yeah, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should, or doesn't mean that it's a good idea. So it's certainly not something that I am proposing. I'm just saying that's the only way it would work, where you are guaranteed not to run out of money.
Very good, very good. All right, Jeff Gove, so are you going to talk about something that's linked, right?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So there are two things. When we talk about linked benefits, there are two options. Number one, and I'm going to steal Scott's analogy that he uses at our workshops
Okay.
because I think it's really good. It's life insurance with long-term care. So again, what he was talking about with traditional long-term care, if you die and you never use it, that money's just gone. So the policy ends. There's no residual benefit. So, that client that paid for 15 years, if they would have died at the 15th year, all that money is just gone. Insurance company made the money.
Terrible.
Linked benefits works different. So the life insurance, if we buy $500,000 in death benefit, that can be either used for your care or it'll be a lump sum death benefit to your beneficiaries. So another thing with that is, Scott mentioned traditional long-term care, the premiums going up and up and up, and it becomes unaffordable because really, you're signing a blank check because you don't know what it's going to cost, just like in the future, because they're going to raise premiums. Mm-hmm. They do give you options sometimes to reduce your benefits to keep the price down, but who wants to do that?
But I've already paid all this money all these years.
Yeah, and believe it or not, 15 years later, they're probably closer to being in a home than they were 15 years earlier, right? Mm-hmm. It's math. So you get closer to needing it, and now you're having to reduce your benefits, or they price you out of it. So the linked benefits, life insurance with long-term care, the premium stays the same. You can some you could pay for up front. You just write a check once. You buy that death benefit, and it could be used for your care. So if you think about a bucket of money, so this $500,000 is in this bucket, and there's a spigot on the side of this bucket. So if you die, that bucket goes to your beneficiaries income tax free because it's life insurance. If you go to a home or you qualify, could be home health care, still losing 2 activities of daily living, you can turn on this spigot and it starts spinning off income. You're reducing that $500,000 in death benefit by what you're taking out and using that to pay for your care.
Hey,
So you
for
get
life, you mean?
both.
For real life?
For real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that option because I know your beneficiaries are going to get something. You or your beneficiaries are going to get something. You use it for your care, which protects your assets. So your kids get more, grandkids get more, whatever the case is, or it's a lump sum death benefit. So either way they get more, and it's tax free. The downside is you have to qualify. So if you're not healthy, that's not going to be an option for you. You do have to qualify. It is life insurance.
Okay.
Now, if you aren't healthy, there are still options for you. So you could do a annuity with a long-term care rider, which works similar. A lot of times you'd have to put a lump sum in to the annuity to get this to work. But you can use IRA money. There's ways to do it.
Oh.
You can use, if you have money in the bank, you can do it that way. The nice thing about that, the annuity though, is if you put $300,000 in this annuity, the annuities that we would recommend are principal protected. So if the market goes down, you're not going to lose anything.
I see.
If the market goes up, you can make money up to a cap. So if the cap's 10%, market does 8%, you make 8%. If it does 20%, you make 10%. Mm-hmm. But the point is your money is still growing for you. Mm-hmm. You can still access it in the future for other purposes, but it does have that kind of back door where you can get in and utilize that money for extended care, a multiple of that value for an extended care event. So those are the two linked benefits that we would recommend. But I would start with life insurance. If you're unable to qualify, again, there's still options available to you. Unless you're already in a home, then it's going to be more difficult, but there are options.
Yeah, and I wanted to address one thing because I've
Please.
talked with quite a few people about the life insurance with long-term care. Traditional, like whole life insurance or universal life or variable life insurance, a lot of times there's cash value inside of that. And so I want to be very clear. You can take cash out of the cash value of these older life insurance products, but once that's cash value is gone, then there's no more value coming out. So the product that Jeff just described is very different. It's not taking the cash value out. It's actually taking the death benefit out. So it is very different than our traditional whole life or traditional universal life. It is designed to take care of extended care expenses with the caveat of if you don't use it, it's going to your loved ones. So just make sure that if you're thinking, oh, my life insurance, I can use it on long-term care. If you bought it probably 10 years or later, it's not the type of product that we're talking about.
All right.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Scott, because one other thing to consider is if you have an old policy like what you're talking about, where maybe you built up, a couple $100,000 in cash value, you get to the point where, I'll have people come in and say, Jeff, I don't need life insurance. What do I do with this policy? We can repurpose that cash value, that old policy, to something that you do need today. So your needs change from, maybe you had farm debt or business debt or personal debt, and that's what that life insurance was covering. We don't really need that because now you're debt free, for example.
Right.
So you're thinking about, I'm just going to cash this thing out, take the cash and go. Well, we can move that to a new policy that better suits your needs today because you've transitioned from the need for death benefit to the need for long-term care. And maybe it doesn't cost you anything out of your pocket. It's just repurposing what you already have.
I
Well,
love
the
it.
other thing is when you move it from life insurance to life insurance, it stays essentially tax-free.
Yep.
Where if you take that cash
hey.
value and you walk away with it, you're probably going to pay ordinary income tax on a large chunk of it.
Yeah.
Nachtigal for the close. Here's the number, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. Thank you so much for joining us.